right, well, I'm Jillian from Grow Your Flow, and I'm sitting here today with Astronautalis. Thank you for taking time out of your day to do this with
Thanks
us.
for having me.
Of course. Of course. Well, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into rapping?
My older brother was a DJ, and he introduced me to rap music. Before that, I was just really into like grunge and punk and stuff, and he gave me a tape with a rapper named Lord Finesse, his album Return of the Funky Man on it, and at that point in time, like, I was 13, and so it was the early 90s, and the rap music that was going on at the time was sort of, you know, poppy and shiny, and he introduced me to this sort of New York underground rap scene, like Big L and Lord Finesse, and you know, Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang Clan and stuff like that was all happening, and that was just so exotic and thrilling, and that's where I heard about the idea of freestyle rapping, and that was all just so compelling to like a white suburbanite Floridian, like, you know, rock kid or whatever, and it just felt like the most foreign and exotic weird thing. And after that I was just all in. Once I heard Return of the Funky Man, I was like, that's what I want to do that, and so I practiced in secret for like 2 years.
Nice. Well, you're originally from Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Yeah.
How did you find yourself in Minneapolis?
The music scene. I was coming here. I mean, I'd always been interested in it, you know, since like the late 90s. The Minneapolis music scene was super thrilling, especially what was going on with rap music, and then eventually, like, you know, I got introduced to it through listening to Atmosphere in like '99, and then even more excited by Andrew Broder's like first band Fog. Like, that was just the be all end all for me. And then through Atmosphere I met POS, and we became like fast friends, and I started coming out here to work on music and became friends with all the folks in Doomtree and folks from Totally Gross National Product and all those kids, and it eventually just became abundantly clear that I should stop spending money on plane tickets and start spending it on rent. And so I left.
Right.
I was living in Seattle at the time, and so I moved here, and I don't foresee myself leaving.
Nice, okay. Well, you mentioned a lot of the members from Doomtree. You've done tons of collabs with them. Who's your favorite artist to make music with?
Oh, wow. Man, that's a tough one. I mean, honestly, I think there's a guy who produces all my records. He's a man named John Congleton, and he's based in Dallas, and he produces my records, but he also produces like St. Vincent and like David Byrne and Modest Mouse and like the Thermals and like these incredible bands, and he's produced my last 2 records, and he just gets so much out of me, and we have such an amazing time working together. There's a lot of people that I'm really lucky to work with. I love working with all the Doomtree folks. I love working with Ryan Olsen and a lot of my friends from Eau Claire and stuff, but John, well, I'll always work with John just because John and I have a thing. It's just, it's magic when we work together. It's the most fun.
What is the album that you're most proud of, or that you like to perform the most?
The one I haven't finished yet. Always.
Really?
The next album will always be the best one. And it's always like, you know, as I get a little bit older, I get more albums under my belt, I'm a little bit less critical of my old records. It used to be just like, I hate that record, like, I'm done with it. But now I'm able to sort of contextualize them a little bit more in my mind, and now that I have the kind of benefit of a slightly larger timeline. I am really, really proud of all my records for different reasons. I think the record that it's not my best record, but I think it was the record that I really did something that no one had done. Like, I really feel like I feel proud of my record Pomegranate. I feel like that was like a really unique thing. I don't think anybody had created something like that. That was like the big like break for me into making my own music, I felt like, whereas the previous 2 records, my first 2 records, were sort of me borrowing heavily from a lot of people and sort of emulating other people's styles, which I think is what a lot of people do in their early work, you know, and that record was the one that I really kind of found my own voice, and then after that I felt a lot more like strident and confident in my work. And it's definitely not the most solid album, but it's I think that was the beginning of something new for me, so that was near and dear to my heart.
Along with that, do you have a favorite song that you like to perform? Something that's yours or something you've collabed with? Is there something that sticks out to you in your mind as one of your favorites to do? Yeah,
I mean, it goes back and forth, but I think I always really love performing this song off my last record called Lift the Curse. There's no rapping in it, it's just singing, and it's, but when I'm playing it with my band, and we're like, we generally end the set with it, or close to the end, because it's this huge, gigantic, you know, wash of sound at the end, and everybody sort of gets to go nuts on it, and if we're putting in a set, it generally means that the set's going really well because we're constantly shifting the sets around. So we'll throw that in like, hey man, let's do that tonight. And when that one's on, it just feels amazing. It's just like I get lost in it. Everybody kind of gets lost in it, and the crowd gets really into it. It's a really thrilling thing to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you are technically an alternative hip-hop artist, is what like Wikipedia and stuff would call you.
Good.
And you've also been compared to Beck if he was younger and immersed in hip-hop. What artists do you think that you would compare yourself to, if any?
I mean, I can think of the artists that I aspire to be like, and the ones that influence my work the most. I'm always really influenced by this musician Bill Callahan, who's a songwriter. He used to perform under the name Smog. Like his stuff, when I first started out writing rap stuff, it was always really dense. And over the albums, it's progressively gotten more sparse and spread out, and try to really enjoy like an economy of words. And his songs are sometimes 2 chords for 6 minutes, and it's very slow and softly spoken, and it's just like they're almost like haikus in their simplicity. And his work has really kind of driven me to kind of spread things out and let the words breathe a little bit more instead of getting. It's really fun to just chop and like that's really fun, but that doesn't always. It's not the best execution of a message to an audience. That's sort of self-serving and masturbatory a little bit. And his stuff's always done that for me. But at the same time, like I still get jacked on like listening to Young Jeezy and Rich Boy and like like a lot of the southern rap stuff that's always been kind of in and around my life. I'm always into, and then my friends most of the musicians I listen to are my friends,
Right.
Because I think they're making the most exciting music.
Well, your sound is completely different from a lot of rappers, like completely different from left field, so different. Where do you find that inspiration to not only rap in a different way, but also bring the music together in a different way?
I just kind of always felt like I grew up, the age that I grew up in, and the place that I grew up in immersed in like a skateboard community in Florida, and it was a really exciting time for skateboarding, where skate films were starting to become more thought out. Like directors like Spike Jonze were starting to make skate movies and stuff, and so they're becoming more artistic and less just the showcasing the craft or skill of the skater, but also showing the craft and the skill of the filmmaker. And in that, they would have these soundtracks that would just be all over the place. You'd have a 3 6 Mafia song, then you'd have a Neutral Milk Hotel song, and like you'd have a Amin Tobin song, and it'd just be all over. And at the time, it was cool. The community that I was in and what was going on with skateboarding, it wasn't cool to be one thing. It was cool to be all the things. You were a skateboarder, so it was okay if you listened to gangster rap. It was okay if you listened to heavy metal. You could do all of that,
Right.
And it was sort of encouraged with the people that were cool at the time, what they were doing. And so that's always been a thing that's just sort of stuck in my head. That while I am a rapper, while I came up through rap, like that's my introduction to like me making music. I've never felt the need to just make rap. Like that seems silly to me. It seems limiting, and particularly especially because I'm not. I make some beats and I do produce, but I'm not like a musician. And so the major instrument I have is my voice, and it always bothers me when rappers just sort of deliver their lyrics the same way on every song on an album. It's been a really exciting sort of, like the Kendrick Lamar record and the Danny Brown record. Those are super exciting in the way that they, just from track to track, they sound like totally different people, and like that they're really using that tool like in the most amazing way. And so for me, I guess it's never been like a active like political concept or anything, but it's always been just, well, if I want to make a country song, then damn it, I'm going to make a country song. Like if I want to make a crazy rap dance song, then I'll do that. Like, but if I think it's a good idea, if it works for the album, if it works for the song, then it should be done. And that's the only rule, as long as it serves the album, serves the song.
You are going to be, in February 15th, performing at Polka Dot Mayhem's The Best Love Is Free. This is the last year they're doing it, correct?
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for that show?
Hey, it's an amazing lineup. My friend Kay Flay is on that, which is so cool.
I know, I'm so excited for
She's
that.
the best. She's so rad.
Love her.
And I haven't played at First Ave since the summer when I played at First Ave with Sims, which was easily one of the best shows of my entire life. So I'm really excited to do that. And also like the way that show has been kind of curated and the way that it's built over the years and sort of culminating in this last year of it is pretty awesome. Like where they've started and where they've come is a pretty amazing thing, and to be a part of the the last one before it goes out is a pretty nice gig. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier that you're working on a new project. Can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, I mean I'm working on a bunch of stuff. Some of it I can't talk about. My solo record I can talk about. I'm about like 7 songs kind of ready to go into the studio for. I'll be playing 3 or 4 of them tonight. Some of which that I just started performing like about a week ago. And it's going to be loud. It's going to be a loud record.
Good.
Yeah, I want to make a really, really loud, huge, gigantic record, and it's going to be a lot of horns and like marching band drums. It's going to be like a halftime show at a football game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've been known to spit some freestyle during your shows. How did that start happening? Because don't you start off by people from the crowd telling you something to rap about?
It sort of started just as an exercise when I was in high school to get better at freestyling. I originally heard there's a real famous rapper from LA called Supernatural who would get people to like turn out their pockets and hold things up in their pockets, and he'd work them into freestyles, and he would sort of do it where he just kind of used them as one-liners, where just the guy would pull a lighter out and he would just kind of end a punchline using the word lighter, but then wouldn't really expound on that at all. And so when I was starting like to get really much better at freestyling, my friends used to always throw topics out to me, like when we were just like, we'd be skateboarding and you'd take a break and you're sitting on your board and you're just kind of kicking it or whatever, and they'd throw topics out to me and get me to rap, but it wouldn't be like, you can't just work it in, you have to tell a story. And they would kind of push me that way. I wasn't a very good skateboarder, so I was a much better rapper, and they kind of pushed me in the direction of my actual ability. And so that sort of kind of came out of that, and they would just throw things at me, like make me like play characters and change voices and stuff and rap over non-rap songs, like rap over this Miles Davis song, like just try to figure it out.
Right.
And it just became part of the exercise. And then when I started performing live, when I was living in Texas and I was going to school there, and it just became, I don't know, somehow evolved into the show as well too, and it's just something that's stuck with me ever since.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you think viewers and your fans might want to know about any upcoming work or anything that you're really excited about that we didn't touch on?
I think I hope that everyone comes to the shows all the time and you sweat and yell and scream at the top of your lungs, and for God's sakes, try to stay warm in the next few months.
All right, well, thank you. I'm Jillian from GrowYourFlow, sitting with Astronautalis, and thank you for tuning in.
First thing they was taught was how to load and lock. Take that aiming shot, embrace the pain, and shoulder blade taking stock. Watch drop, pull a bolt back, load another up till the clip goes pop. They sweep your block and hip and drop in a place that's more gonna bow with pop, 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 pop.